Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing absolutely well. So guys, in this video we are going to solve coding practice questions which are going to be helpful for you if you are going to appear for your TCS Ignite exam. Okay, so in this video we are going to solve around 10 questions which will give you a very good idea of how questions you can solve, and it will improve your base. Okay, now the main important thing about this questions is you might feel that in exams actually these kinds of question does not come. Okay, because we know in exams, in your Ignite exam the question will be scenario based. Okay, but the solution of those coding problems will be very small. Okay, so I have majorly focused on the solutions, so I am teaching you only the solutions and the major topics on which the questions will come, right? So practicing these questions will give you a very good idea of what kinds of question can come, and maybe these might be helpful for you. So I would suggest that if you have time, please go through this video, because it is, you have nothing to lose. Okay, you will learn something new only. So without wasting any time, let's start with our today's video. But before that, if you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet, because I regularly upload these kinds of helpful videos for all of you on daily basis. Also, there is a complete playlist that I have created on TCS Smart and Ignite preparation. Make sure to check that too. So let's start with the first question. Let's look at this question. So in this question, what we are asked is reverse a string in Python. Okay, so see, how can we do this? First of all, what we have done, we have taken a function reverse underscore string. This will take a what parameter, that is it will take an input string, that whatever we want to reverse. Okay, in this example we are going to pass hello as our string, right? Then what we are doing, we are returning as of this. Okay, what does this does? This basically reverses your string and it gives. Okay, so this compares the, like this not compares, but it uses Python slicing to reverse the original string, and then we will return this. So finally, while printing the statement, what we are doing, we are calling our function reverse string, in that we are passing our string. So hello, it will become what? OLLEH. In this way, easily in a very short function, we can implement the reverse string in Python functionality. Okay, let's now move on to the next question. Guys, let's look at this problem now. We have this coding problem and to solve it. Okay, so before we look into the code of this problem, let's try to understand what this problem is, and let's try to get the logic of this, because you know coding is simple once you get the logic for the question. Okay, let's read the question. How can a number be expressed as a sum of two prime numbers? Okay, write a program for that. Now we have a sample input as 34 and the output is 3 and 31 are the numbers which can be expressed as the sum of 34. Okay, now just in case if you have not got it, let me tell you what is the question asking. See, we will be given a number. Okay, in our case the number is what? 34. Now we have to find two such numbers, okay, which can add up to give 34, but the condition is those two numbers should be prime number. Okay, now just in case if you are not aware what is a prime number is a number which is like not divisible by any other number. Okay, for example, we have 2 as a prime number, then we have 3 as a prime number. 4 is not a prime number because it is divisible by 2, right? In the same way, we have 5 as a prime number, right? Then next prime number is 7. 6 is not a prime number. So in this way, we have to take only prime numbers, and the sum of two digits, which is going to be the two digits which are going to be the sum. So for that also, those two digits needs to be prime number. Okay, let's try to solve it, and let's try to understand the logic how we will proceed. See, we have 34, right, as the sum. What we are going to do is we are going to check from first digit, okay, like from 2, okay, whether our first digit is 2. Okay, let's consider that our first digit is 2. Then what can be the next digit which can sum up to 34? So the next digit can be 34 minus 2, right? Then only we will get the sum as 34, right? So 2 plus 32, but the condition is false here because this is prime but this is not prime, right? So we will not go with this scenario. Let's move on to the next digit now. So next digit is what? 3. So again, before taking this digit only, we will check if this is a prime, then only we will take this digit and move forward. So yes, this digit is prime, so we will move forward now. So the remaining digit could be what? 34 minus 3, which is 31, and the second digit also that we have got is prime. So yes, this is one of the answers. Okay, like this is the answer for our question, that is 3 and 31. Okay, let's take one more example. For example, you know, in this question it is only asking the first pair, okay, like which is going to give us the sum as 34, but there can be multiple answers of this question. Okay, let's move forward. For example, if we take the next digit as like 5, okay, see 4, when we will come to 4, we will not consider that because 4 itself is not a prime number, right? So we will not move forward for solving it further. Next digit we will consider as 5, and then the other digit would be 34 minus 5, right? So 34 minus 5 is what? 29. So 5 is a prime number and 29 is also a prime number. So if they would have asked us all the pairs, then we would have to find all these pairs in this way. But I hope you have understood the logic. What we are doing is we are starting from 2 and comparing, like checking this in this way. Okay, first whether the number itself is prime or not. If it is prime, then we will move forward and find the other number by what? By subtracting the actual number from the given number, right? And then whenever we have the number, we will check if that second number is prime or not. If it is not prime, then also we will drop off and we will move on to the next number. But if it is a prime, then in that case we will get our answer. Okay, I hope you have understood the logic. Let's now move on to the code straight away and try to see how we can implement this in code. Understand this code now. So as we understand in the logic that we always need to check if a number is prime or not, right, for every digit. So what we will do is we will create a separate function to check whether a digit is prime. Okay, for that what we have taken, the type we have taken as bool, because boolean type we will get the return value as boolean type, that is either true or false. True means that the digit is a prime digit and false means that the digit is a non-prime digit, right? So let's see further. Is prime is our function which is going to check whether our digit is prime or not, and this is a digit that we are going to take. Okay, then see, this is the initial condition. If the digit is 1 or less than 1, then we will always consider that digit as false, which means not prime. Okay, then this is like the base condition we have given. Whenever it is 2, then always consider 2 as the prime number, because we know 2 is a prime number. Then is our next further condition, wherein what we will do is we will whatever the value which we have. Okay, for example, if we have value as 6, so what we will do, we will iterate from 2 till like not half of 6 but square root of 6. Why so? Because this is the optimized condition. Okay, just suppose that you can even check from digits from 2 to 5 also, but just understand there is no sense in checking 4 and 5, because see, 4 double itself is 8, right? So there is no chance to check, there is no point of checking multiples of 4, 5, right? So only like you have to run this condition until square root of your n digit, right? So how to write the square root of n digit? In this way, I into I less than equals to n. If you are confused about it, you can even do I less than n also. So in that case, like some extra loops will run, but that is not going to break your problem. This is just the optimized version. That is why I have taken I into I less than equals to n. Okay, let's see. So for example, if we have taken 2, so for example 2 in that case, it will just give the return as true only, because we have just given the base condition. Let's consider for 3 now. So see, here it will be what? 3 mod 2 is what? Not 0, right? So it won't return false, right? And then it will not move on further, because our condition is only running until square root of 3. Now in this case it will return true for 3, because 3 is a prime number, right? So in this way our prime function will work. Now we will create one more function. The work of this function is what? To find the prime sum. Okay, then in this one, what is the num that we are taking? This num is the num that we have in the input, right, which is 32. So here we are taking the num value as 32. If you focus in the main function, our num value is 34 and we are calling find prime sum. Okay, and then we are passing our num value in that. So here we will get the value as 34, and then what we will do is we will take a found variable and we will initialize it with false. Okay, and then whenever we found out the values, then we will again set its value to true. Here again we are running a loop from I equals to 2 to I is less than or equals to num by 2, that is half of it, and then I plus plus. What we are checking here is first number that we have, okay, is prime or not. For example, as I told you, we already saw it in our explanation, right, that when we were checking with 2, we were checking if our 2 is prime or not, right? So this is that condition only, is prime 2. Okay, and then the other one, which is 34 minus I, right, that is 34 minus 2. So again 34 minus 2 also we need to check if that is also is prime or not. So that is why we are also wrapping that also inside is prime. So if first one is prime, then only move on to the second one. That is why we have written and here. And then if second is also true, then we will move on. Then we can say that our the 2 digits we have found out as our final answer. Okay, but in our first iteration we have already seen our initial value was 2 and the second value was 32, which was not prime. So that is why what we will do, we will increment our I value again. Okay, so this time our I value will be 3, and then the second value will be 34 minus 3, which is 31, and both the digits are what? prime digits. So we will go into this if condition and we will print this statement. Now what we are doing, okay, in this statement we are just printing that our 34, first of all our input number can be expressed as the sum of and then the two digits which we have. Okay, so 3 here and then 34 minus 3, which is 31 here, and then this complete statement will be printed. And finally we have assigned our found value to true. Okay, initially it was false and we have assigned our found value to true, and then we are breaking out of this loop. And then what we are doing a condition check if it at any point, because you know in some cases there can be a chance that you might not even find those two digits only. Okay, there are no two digits which are primes for a digit. Okay, the sum of two digits cannot be prime. Okay, like for example, if you have any digit for which you are not finding any such two digits which are prime, okay, in that case you also have to give this kind of like final value, right, that cannot be expressed at the sum of two prime numbers. Okay, so this is like a breaking condition or the final condition where you have not found out the two digits as prime. Okay, so that is why the main aim of taking found variable was this only, that any time if our found variable becomes true, then it is fine. But if our found variable is always false even after doing all the checks, then it means that those two digits does not exist only, such two digits does not exist. Okay, so then in that case we will give this print statement. Okay, so hope you have understood the logic. So in this way, see, our input was 34 and we have expressed the output as 34 and the digits are 3 and 31. Let's try to run this code. Okay, so we will get the output should be as like, see, 34 can be expressed as the sum of 3 and 31. Okay, now let's see one more thing. You know what I have done is I have put a break here. Right now, you know, the question can be asked in a different way, that in this way find all the possible pairs, okay, for 34, because I told you, right, the other possible pair was this also, like 5 and 29, right, because 5 and 29 also sums up to 34 only, right, and both 5 and 29 are also prime. But since we are asked the first encountered digits, that's why we have given the answer as 3 and 31. Okay, but what if we are asked find all the digits, then we will just comment this break statement. Then what it will do is it will keep on running until and unless it finds all the digits. So see, all the possible digits for this could be 331, 529, 11, 23, 17 and 17, right? So hope you have understood the logic. Okay, so now let's check this case. Okay, one such case where our code execution comes to this part. Okay, so for that what we will take one such input where it does not have any two prime numbers as its sum. So let me update the digit as 27. So if you see, for 27 we will not find, okay, and our we will not have any value of found to be true. Okay, because all times when our this loop is occurring or executing, we will never come into that scenario, or we will never find two prime digits which will give us the sum as 27. Okay, in that case it will finally reach here and the output will be cannot be expressed as the sum of two prime numbers. Let's run this code. We have got the output as 27 cannot be expressed as the sum of two prime numbers, because if you will start traversing or looking one by one the digits, if you take 2, then the other digit will be what, 27 minus 2, right, which is 25, and 25 is not a prime number, right? So that is why in this way, if you will keep on traversing, you will find out that there are no two digits which exist which are prime and which sums up to be the sum 27. So hope you have understood this explanation. Let's look at this question. In this question, what we are asked is find the factorial of a number in Python. Okay, so if you are not aware how to calculate the factorial of a number is, for example, if you have the number 3, so its factorial, how it will be calculated? So the factorial of 3 will be 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, in the same way, if we have 5 as the factorial, so how it will be calculated? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, now we have to write a code for this functionality. See, so what we can do is, first of all, what we have done, we are defining a function factorial, and then we are passing the input. Now what this n is the input number, okay, for which we have to find the like factorial. For example, in this case we are taking example as 5, so n will be 5, okay, initially. Then this is the base condition, you can say. Okay, this first if n equals to 0 is the base condition. Why we are putting this base condition? Because 0 factorial is 1. Okay, always this is the base condition. So we are checking if we are passed the input 0, then we should return 1 as the answer directly. Okay, or otherwise next you will see that whenever we are passed a value, we will decrease this value every time. So we have to see, initially we had 5, then 4, then 3, 2, 1. When it reaches 0, we have to break our condition. So that is why it is called as base condition. Okay, so see, we have already seen if n value is 0, then we have to return 1, then else is what, return n into factorial of n minus 1. Let's try to dry run this. So see, initially our value is what, 5, right? We are doing it what, for factorial of 5. So whenever n value is 5, it will not go to if condition, it will come to else condition, and then it will give this, okay, which is factorial of 5 is equals to 5 into factorial of what, 5 minus 1, right here, this one. So 5 minus 1 will be 4. Again, this is a function, so again this function call will recursively call itself. Again n value will be checked, it is 4, so this, it will not go into this if condition. Again fact of 4 will be calculated. Fact of 4 will be what, 4 into fact of 3, right? In the same way, again now factorial 3 function is called again recursively. So we will call this factorial of 3, which will be 3 into factorial of 2. Let's do it for 2 more times. So here fact of 2 will be called, this function will be called, this will be what, 2 into factorial of 1, and then factorial of 1 will be called. So now the base condition rule will come here. Okay, see, now this time our value is still 1, which is greater than n. So this will not go to base condition, it will again comes to else part, and it will be 1 into factorial of 0 this time, right? Now this time when factorial of 0 will be called, it will return 1. So when 1 value will be returned from here, it will be computing it 1 into 1. So factorial of 1 will be what, 1. So here instead of factorial of 1, this will return the value 1. Then 2 into 1 will be calculated, and then this value. So for example, I'll tell you how this will be calculated. Initially factorial of 0 will be calculated as 1. So this will be 1 into 1, and this value will be substituted where, here in the place of factorial of 1. So we will get this. Then 3 into factorial of 2. So 3 into factorial of 2. So factorial of 2 we have got as 2. Okay, now 3 into 2 is 6, which is factorial of 3. So here we have got 3, and here it was 4. Now 4 into 6 is 24. So which is the value of factorial of 4. So 24 here. So in this way our final output will be calculated, which is going to be 120. Hope you have understood the logic. So see, writing this function was very easy, but try running it and understanding the concept is important. Okay, let's now move on to the next question. Let's look at this question. Check if a string is palindrome in Python. Okay, so see, we have a string, okay, like for example this one, and we have to check if this is a palindrome or not. Okay, so for example, just in case if you are not aware what is a palindrome, let me tell you. See, there are some strings, okay, like this one, okay, NAMAN. So if you read it from this side, or if you read it from this side, it will be same, right? So if you read from this left side, that is NAMAN, then also it will be spelled as Naman, and when you read it from the other side also, then also it will be spelled as NAMAN, that is Naman. So this type of string is called as palindrome, right? Now we have to write we have to write a code for this, so to check whether the string is palindrome or not. So for that, what we have done, we have taken a function is palindrome, and inside that we are passing our string. Okay, so in that string what we are doing, first of all, see, we are doing this condition check. Now this condition check is doing what? Check your input string, this is the input string, with this thing. Now what is this thing? Okay, this thing is basically used to reverse a string. So what we are checking, if our original string, okay, let me write, if our original string is equals to, okay, it's double equals to what, reverse string, okay, or not. So if this is true, this means what? Yes, our string is palindrome. If not, then no, our string is not a palindrome. So the output we will give is a boolean value, that is true or false. True means yes, our string is palindrome. False means our string is not a palindrome. So for example, if we are passing this one, RACECAR. So if you see R and R, A and A, C and C, right, E. So which means this string is a palindrome. We have seen all the characters are in the same way. So what we will get the output for this one, the reverse of this string will also be this only. So then when the condition check will happen, it will give the true as the answer. So then we will get the output as true. Let's now move on to the next question. Let's look at this question. We have the problem statement, calculate and display the sum of even and odd numbers in an array. See, we are given an input array. okay, it has some numbers. What we need to output is sum of all the even numbers that are there in this array and sum of all the odd numbers that are there in this array. So let's try to analyze this problem. So let's take this array which is given to us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so these are the numbers, and now let's try to find the sum of odd numbers first. Okay, so sum of odd numbers is going to be what? First let's target what all are the odd numbers that we have in this array. So 1, 3 and 5 are the odd numbers that we have. So 1 plus 3 plus 5 is going to give us what? 9, right? So that is why we have the sum of odd numbers mentioned as 9. Let's see the sum of even numbers also, okay, in the similar way. So let's see the even numbers that we have. We have 2, 4 and 6. Let's calculate the sum of them. So 2 plus 4 plus 6, it's going to give us 12. So in this way we have found out the sum of even numbers, which is 12. Now how we will write this code? Okay, so how we will implement the logic? See, it is not that tough, it is easy only. Let's try to understand the implementation logic. What we will do is, initially we will have an input array. Okay, so an input array will be there which will be having the nums. Okay, so in this one we will have all the inputs, okay, like 1, 2 and so on. Okay, next step what we will do is we will take two variables. Okay, so two variables as in like okay, even sum and odd sum. Okay, and then what we will do is we will initialize them with 0, and based on the values that we will encounter, we will add the values, okay, even numbers and odd numbers. So now what we need to do is we will iterate over an array. So for that what we will use? We will use an for loop, okay, like length. We will start from 0, length of the array, and then we will increment it one by one, right? Then what we will do? So we will check, okay, first of all what we will do is we will check if our current array value, okay, like we have this array, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One by one we are iterating over it. So we have right now this element with us. So we will check if this element, whatever is num of I, okay, nums of I is mod 2, okay, which means mod 2 equals 0. This means what? This is the condition which checks if a number is even. Okay, so if this is true, means our number is even. Okay, so for example, in first case when we will check with 1, this will turn out to be false. Okay, but for second case when we will have the nums of I is 2, so 2 mod 2 is what? We will get the remainder as 0. So this condition turns out to be true. So at this, when this turns to be true, what we will do is we will do even sum plus our nums of I. Okay, so what will happen? Previously our even sum value was 0, and now the new it will be plus 2, which will be 2, right? So in the similar way we will iterate again. For 3 it will go in else condition, which we are going to write in further. But for 4, let's see. So when we will have 4, it will what? Again it will come in this condition. By that time the even sum value is 2, so what it will do? It will add 4 to it. So we will get 8. In the similar way, when we encounter 4 plus 2, 6. So in the next time when we will encounter 6, this condition will be true again, and we will add 6 more. So at the final time we will get 12 as the output. Let's see the odd condition now. See, odd condition, again we can do two things. Either we can write the complete condition. Okay, how the complete condition will look like? So else if nums of I mod 2 is not equals to 0. Okay, so this means what? Odd condition. Okay, this means odd condition, but we don't even have to do all this, right? Because in if condition already we have written the condition for even. Okay, so the above if condition we have already written the condition for even, so we can directly write else. Okay, so whatever now remaining is else only, right? Whatever now remaining condition is odd condition only. So we can simply write in this case, that is whenever you come in the else part, do odd sum of plus of num I. Okay, so that's why I was saying, like whenever we are starting, so when we get 1, so 1 mod 2 is not equals to 0, so we will come in the else part. In that case what we will do? Odd sum plus num of I. So 0 plus 1, 1. So in this way we will keep on following and we will get the final answer. Hope you understood the logic. Now let's implement the code for it. Let's write the code for it now. See, first of all what we need to do is we will take an integer array. Okay, so int nums, okay, int nums, and then equals to what we will have? We will have an array with different digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are considering this is as our input array. Now what we will do? We will take two variables as we have seen in our logic. So even sum, okay, and then we will initialize it with 0, and then we will take one more, okay, which is odd sum. Okay, and then we will initialize this one also with 0. Okay, now we have our variable set. Now what we will do? We will iterate over our input array, okay, that we have. So how we will iterate is initially I equals to 0, and then now you see what we need is we want to iterate over the entire array. Okay, array length. How we will find length? Because we don't have length function which will work on array. Okay, we have it on strings, but on array it won't work. So what we can do is we can calculate the length of array in this way. Okay, that is size of nums, okay, which is our array name, the total size of it divided by size of one element. Okay, so this is like kind of, you can say, a tricky way of, like, not a tricky way, but a way of finding the length of a array. Okay, so in this way we will get the length of this array. Okay, so which is like 6 in this case. Then next is what? I plus plus. Every time we just have to increment one value. Once this is done, let's move on. And now what we will do, we will check our even or odd condition. So nums of I mod 2 even sum. Okay, we will have to add this value, right, to our even sum variable. So even sum plus is equals to nums of I. Okay, and now we will write the same logic for odd also. So now we have the values. Okay, so what we will do now is at the end we will just print out our things. Okay, so I will just close my for loop. Okay, and now we have to just show our final values. So see out odd sum. Okay, let's try to run this and let's see. See, we have got our output as sum of even numbers is 12 and sum of odd numbers is 9. Let's look at this question. What we need to do here is find the maximum element in an array in Python. Okay, so we have this code here. What we have done is we have taken a function find max. Inside that we are taking array as the input. Okay, so now what we will do is initially we will assume that the first element is the maximum of our array. Okay, assume first element is maximum. Okay, because from here only we will start the calculations. Then we have taken a for loop. Okay, in this for loop is it will loop through the array to find the largest element in the array. Now we have done for num in array, and then we are doing a if condition check. So if our current number is greater than the maximum element, then what we need to do, update the max element. Okay, that is update the max element with the current number. And finally like we have to return the maximum element that we have found in the array. So if you see like we have this thing, right, 5 3 9 1 7. Okay, so maximum element initially will be what? We will take the first element, right, as I told you, so it will be 5. Okay, then you will come in this for loop and it will loop over every element. Okay, then it will check if num value is greater than maximum element. Okay, if not, then it will just go again to the next element itself. Okay, if it is, then it will stop. For example, let's see, if we are on 3, this num value is greater than max element, no, so it will just skip it and move on to the next value, which is 9. So this case is true. In this case, like 9 is greater than 5, so what it will do, it will update the max value or max element with the 9 value, right? In the same way it will move forward again. 1 is smaller than 9, so it won't even go in the if condition. 1 is not greater than 9, so it won't go in the if condition. Next is 7 is also not greater than 9, so again it will not go into this condition, and the for loop will be completed because we have traversed the entire array. Now whatever is the value stored in the max element will be our maximum value. That is why we are returning the max element at the end. So this is the simplest implementation. Moving on to the next question. Let's look at this question. What we need to do in this question is implement a binary search algorithm in Python. Okay, see, for this, first of all, let me explain you what is a binary search algorithm and how does it work. Okay, so that you can easily understand this code. So see, if we have this array, okay, we have this array which has multiple numbers like 1 2 3 4 and 5 and 6. Okay, now we will be given a string that we need to search for a particular string, for example 4. How we usually search in binary string is we check the entire string and entire array, and then we will take the midpoint of it. Okay, and based on that we will see if our value is greater than this or smaller than this. So in our case our search value is 4, which is greater than this, so we will eliminate this whole part, because we know if it is greater, then there is no possibility that we will find it in the lower part. Okay, so we will only now do the searching here. Again, what we will do, we will be remaining with 4 5 and 6, so we will find the midpoint again. Now in midpoint we will check if our 4 value is greater than the midpoint or smaller than. So this time it is smaller, so we will only take this much part, we will eliminate the remaining part, because we know the search value will lie somewhere here only. So in this way it will keep on breaking it until and unless it reaches the final search value. Okay, so this is how the concept of binary search works. Let's see how we can write the code for it. So we have taken a function. Okay, we are defining a function binary search, and it is taking two like inputs, which is array and target. Okay, so target is basically our search string, whatever we need to search. Okay, so let's see what we are doing is we are taking a low value and high value. What is this low value and high value? Low value is this, okay, and high value is this, you can say. Okay, the starting and ending point of your array is low and high. So see, low and then high, we have assigned those values. Next is what? We have initialized the pointers for the start and end of the list. Okay, in this case. Next is our while loop. So here we are running a loop where we are doing, what we are doing is low is less than or equals to high. Then what this one is saying is continue searching until the range is valid. Okay, because I told you, right, our low value should be like smaller than higher value. Okay, then only the range is valid. So we will continue checking until the range is valid. Okay, and then this mid value, what is this? This mid value is checking what will be the mid index of your entire array. As I told you, right, so your array will have multiple elements, so you have to check the mid value. So this mid is for that mid variable we have taken. Next is this if condition. Okay, so what we are checking, if array of mid is equals to target, okay, which means here we were checking. Okay, and if your value is that, then just return the value from here only, then you don't need to go to further code also. Okay, but what if your value is smaller, or what if your value or the search target is greater? First of all, if it is greater, then increment your low value and just search only in the remaining part. Okay, so low value will be incremented from here to here, so it will only search from between low to high. Okay, but and other cases, if your target value is smaller, then you have to search it in the other part. Okay, this one. So that is what we have not written a separate condition for that. We are just writing else because that is the only remaining condition in that case. So in that case, we will return, we will just do high is equals to mid minus 1. And return minus 1 is if the target is not found only in the array. Okay, so because this is the breaking condition, if after executing the entire code we have not even found the string, so there's something we have to give, right? So we will give minus 1 in case if we have not got the string like the search text or the number in the entire array. So here if you see, we have this input and our search string is 3. Okay, so since our search string is at this position, we are giving 2. Why so? Because this is the index values. Okay, so our index value is what? 2. So here we are giving the output as 2. Okay, hope you have understood this. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, let's look at this problem. Given two strings, create a new string by picking the characters from the first string where the corresponding character in the second string is 1. Okay, so let's see the input. We have two strings in the input. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to create a third output based on the given two strings. Okay, so let's see. So see, we have this string 1 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we have to use this second string to create our new final output string. Okay, now what is the second string? Second string is a sequence of zeros and ones, and what we are told is whatever string which is coming at one's position, okay, wherever 1 is there in the second string, we have to take that value. So that is why we are taking 1. Okay, and then here also there is 1, so from string 1 we will take this value, and here also there is 1, so we will take this value from the string 1, and this is our final output of string that we are going to have. Okay, hope you have understood the logic. So based on string 1 and string 2, we need to find a new string which is the output string. Let's try to see the code for this problem. See, we have what we have done is we have taken two strings. String 1 is going to be our string which is given to us, and string 2 is the one which is also given to us, which is of sequence of zeros and ones. Okay, now we are also creating one new string which is going to be our output string. So for that I have taken a string ans, which is answer string. Now we are going to loop over our input string. Okay, so you can take any one of the string. Okay, basically we want the length of the string, so string 1 and string 2 both lengths are same. So what I have done is int I equals to 0, I is less than string 1 dot length and I plus plus. So I am iterating over the string. And then what we are doing is we are checking if in the second string, whenever we are encountering 1, then at the same position we want that value of string 1. Okay, So at the same index, for example, at index 0, okay, like whenever our string 2 of I, for the first time, whenever index was 0, we got it as 1 right here, which means this one. So at this time only, what we will do is we will take the value which is in the same index in string 1. So we have appended that value in our answer string. Okay, in the same way we will do it for 2 also, for the second string. Okay, but this time we will get 0, so our if condition will not be true, so we will move again to the next value. So this time our string value is 1 again, okay, in the third iteration. So whenever string value becomes 1, at the same time we will take the that position value in our answer string. So already in our answer string 1 was there, now 3 will also get stored, and in the similar way, after 2 repetitions we will get 5 also in our string. Let's run the code. See, we have got the output as 1, 3 and 5. So hope you have understood the logic for this one. Let's look at this question. Remove duplicates from a list in Python. Okay, so see how we can implement this. First of all, let's take one example. We have this array, okay, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. So after removing the duplicates as in there should be no 2 occurrences of the same digit. So 2 is twice, so we will remove the duplicate 1 and then we will just write it only once. Then we have 3 only at once, and then we have 4 twice, so we have to write it only once. Then we have 5, so we have written 5. Okay, so in this way our unique series will be something like this. So how can we implement this one now? So let's see how we have implemented. We have taken a function remove duplicates, and then we are taking an array. This is taking an array inside it. Okay, so what we are doing here is, see, what we are doing here is like we are converting the list, okay, to a set to remove the duplicates, and then we are converting it back to a list. See, first of all, this array is what a list. Okay, then initially we are converting it to a set, because you know set in Python has a property that it automatically removes the duplicate values. Okay, so once we convert it to set, all the duplicates are removed, right? And then we have to return the value. So then we are again converting into a list by writing it in this way. So our final answer will have the list without any duplicates. Okay, so this is the easiest way of doing this. So I hope you have understood. For any questions, you can ask in the comment section. Any doubts? Let's move on to the next question now. Let's look at this question now. See, in this question what we are asked is calculate the Fibonacci sequence up to a certain number in Python. Okay, so here we have what is a Fibonacci series? First of all, let me tell you. See, Fibonacci series is a series where the next number is the sum of last 2 digits. Okay, so initial 2 digits are 0 and 1, so next digit will be what? 0 plus 1. Okay, and now the next digit will be what? 1 plus 1, which will be 2. In the same way, if we will move forward, 1 plus 2 will be 3. Next is 3 plus 2 will be 5, 5 plus 3 will be 8, so on and so forth. You can generate the Fibonacci series. Okay, now what our question is, we will take the things as we need to implement a Fibonacci function, okay, where we will put the input value. Okay, now for example, if you are passing value as 50, so we have to give all the Fibonacci numbers which are there before 50, okay, which are, so see, until 34, next value will be what? 34 plus 21, which is greater than 50. So we will not do that value. Okay, so we will give all the Fibonacci series from 0 until the value which is smaller than 50. Okay, hope you understood the problem statement. Now let's see how we are implementing it here. We have taken a function name which is Fibonacci, and then we are taking n as the input, which is going to be our value, okay, until where we need to generate the Fibonacci series. Now what is this one? Fibonacci sequence. So I told you, right, initially we need to have the sequence with first 2 elements, right, which is 0 and 1. So this is for that. Okay, next is what? While we are running a while loop, and then what this while loop is doing is it is continuing to generate the Fibonacci numbers until the last number is greater than or equal to n. See, here we have taken n, right? So it will generate the Fibonacci series until unless the value becomes greater than n. Okay, so it should not go beyond n. So until n we should stop. Okay, so that is the while condition that we are using here. What is next thing here? This is the main logic of Fibonacci series. If you see, right, what we are doing is we are adding the sum of last 2 digits in the sequence to extend it. See, this is appending, right? So whatever our sequence was previously, for example, our sequence was 0 and 1, so it will append to this sequence. What it will append? It will append that Fibonacci sequence of -1 plus Fibonacci sequence of -2. Now what is this -1 and -2? -1 and -2 are your index values. So if your current index value is 2, then you have to take the Fibonacci sequence of -1, which is going to be your 1 value, and then on -2, which is going to be your 0 value, add them up and then append it to this array or your string, whatever. So then in this case it is going to be 2. In this way, you will generate the Fibonacci sequence until unless you will get this reach this 50 value, and then finally you will return your Fibonacci sequence. Okay, so in this way you will get your output as in this sequence. Okay, so hope you have understood it. Let's now move on to the next question. Let's look at this question. In this question, what we need to do is we need to find the sum of digits of a number in Python. So see, you will be having a number like this 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. What you need to do is we need to do the summation. Okay, that is, you need to find the sum in this way. The sum will be 15. Okay, so how you can do that in the easiest way possible? So for that, what we have done is we have taken a function which is sum of digits, and it is accepting the this digit, okay, which has multiple numbers in it. Now how to proceed? See, first of all, what we will do is we will convert this number to a string. Okay, why we are converting is because iterating over string is easy, right? Because see, this is a single digit in this one, right? And what we need to do in this digit, we have to traverse over every single digit of it, right? This one, this one. So if we convert it into a string, it will be easy for us to traverse. So that is why what we have done, first of all, we will convert it into a string, and then using for loop we will iterate over it. Okay, so first of all, if you see, this was our number in integer. Okay, you can say that 1 2 3 4 5. Now we converted into a string 1 2 3 4 5. This is in a string. Now what we will do, we are running a for loop like 1 2 3. Okay, and then we are running a sum function over that. What that will do, that will like add up whenever we have a value. So initially when our value is 1, then the next value when it will come will be 2, next will be 3, and then next will be 4, and then next is 5. So in this way it will add up all the values, and finally we will just print the output of this function which we have. Okay, that is sum of digits. So the final output we will have is 15. So in the return value we will get 15 as the output, which is the summation of all the digits. Hope you have got it. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you found the video helpful. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. Make sure to join me on Telegram and Instagram as well. You can ask your queries in the Instagram DM as well, and if you need any content, you can request it on our Telegram channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet to receive all the latest regular updates. I regularly post off-campus drives and preparation related videos for placements on my channel. So that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching the video. So guys, that's all for today's videos. Hope you found it helpful. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. Make sure to join me on Telegram, and you can even follow me on Instagram and ask your queries in the Instagram DM as well. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so that you don't miss any important updates from the channel. So that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching the video.